Yo, what is going on, everybody? 29 United back here with another video. And today I'm honored to be joined with two very, very special guests. One of them was on my other video the last time. Arya at Gol Bezan. How are you, mate?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me back on. It's a pleasure to be on with my good friend Keon as well.
So you do a football podcast, Iranian football podcast to be precise.
Yeah, just as I said before in the last video, just one of the only podcasts for Iranian football in the English language. Just do our own podcast as well, covering the national team and the players playing in Europe.
I'm also joined with another good friend of mine, actually, Keon at Futbaleirani on Instagram. How are you, bro?
Everything okay. Thank you for accepting me in this podcast. An honor to promote Iranian football. Of course, not everybody knows how good the Team Melli is, but it's a good way to promote it, and hopefully people will enjoy this podcast.
All right, so all of their links are going to be in the description. Make sure to go follow them. And let's get on with the video. So the first question comes from @SweeperKeeperMN on Twitter, and he says realistic expectations for 2022. I'm presuming he's talking about the World Cup. I'm gonna go first. Currently, we're not doing too well in the qualification rounds for the World Cup. My realistic expectation is probably, again, the group stages. It really depends on the group we get. Don't really have a concrete answer, but for now, I just want us to qualify. I think that's what everybody wants.
Personally, for me, everything is possible, of course, but we know we have to acknowledge that we changed our coach several times. Wilmots, the Belgian coach. Now we have Skocic. In this group, we don't have difficult opponents apart from Iraq. And yeah, that's the only team can be difficult. But we have 4 games left, and yeah, everything is possible. We play against small teams, and we can easily get points from them.
Look, we have 2 games pretty much in the bag against Cambodia and Hong Kong that we need to get 6 points from, and then obviously that's the first objective, and then obviously leading into the second last game against Bahrain, and then the last one against Iraq. We need to win those games, but again, we have a game in hand, and that's obviously that's just the first round of qualifiers. Then we go into the second round of qualifiers, and Queiroz used to always say this back in the day when he was in charge, that for Iran, the battle is in the qualifiers. Iran is fighting in the qualifiers to get into the World Cup. The World Cup for Iran is like the shackles are off. You know, they're relaxed. They're going out there to play for the country. But in the qualifiers, it's the battle. It's really about making sure we get to the World Cup and we show that we're worthy of being there. But once we get there, then it's about obviously competing at the highest level against the best teams in the world. Of course, we want to see Iran get to the second round of the World Cup. You know, I'd love to see that in my lifetime. I'd love to see it.
That was very interesting. Next question, and this one's very interesting. It doesn't necessarily have to do with international football, like from Team Melli, but this one comes from @FootballHarvey. He asks, what position do you think the Iranian national team would finish if they played in each of the top 5 leagues?
I think we would do okay. I think we would be pretty. I think what the thing about Iranian players are, they're very fit. You know, they're very, very good athletes. You know, so I think they would be able to get to that standard.
Yeah, Arya, as you said before, German football is very tactical. That's why just because we changed our coach not a long time ago, I think we can finish in the mid-table.
The way I see it really is, I don't know, I would compare myself to a team like Leeds. Very good strikers, an okay midfield. Actually, Leeds' defense isn't really that great, but our defense is better than our midfield. And our goalkeeper, obviously, we've got very talented goalkeepers. The next question comes from @Kion Zolrad. I think I pronounced that well. And he asked, what would you say is your ideal defense and goalkeeper in a 5 at the back formation currently, right now?
The last game we played a back 3 with 2 wing backs. I don't know if that really is what we need to do, like going forward. But if you're asking me who I would play, Van is a guy who I really like, but I'm disappointed in his attitude. especially since moving to Belgium. I've said this in our recent podcast on Gol Bezan, that I just feel like he's got this attitude where he doesn't understand what he's been given. You're a great goalkeeper. You've got a great chance to go to Europe and prove yourself. But I still think he's Iran's best goalkeeper. I think the centre backs for me would be, I think Pouraliganji is very important to Iran's style of football. Majid Hosseini, Hossein Kanani, or Khalilzadeh. I'm obviously a big fan of Iman Salimi as well. He's now playing in Slovakia. And then I think the wing backs would be Moharami and Mohammadi, no doubt about it.
My favorite lineup on the back. So because I'm in touch with several players of Team Melli, I would say a player which is really underrated. It's Amir Abedzadeh. He's a great player with Maritimo in Portugal. And for the defense, unfortunately, we didn't see Sayed Jalal Hosseini play in the World Cup, unfortunately, because he's a really good player, consistent. We qualified because of him. He scored an important goal against Uzbekistan. I would put on the left side Milad Mohammadi, who is a warrior like Ramin Rezayan. That's why I would put him but on the right side. Majid Hosseini, you said, Arya, I really like him, but in big games like in the Asian Cup, I felt like he disappeared a bit. And yeah, Pouraliganji, Kanani, even though Kanani, it was a bit of his fault that we lost against Japan 3-0 in the Asian Cup. That's why instead of Kanani, I would put Khalilzadeh.
This answers actually a lot of questions in the comment section as well. A lot of people asked who the starting goalkeeper would be. Arya said Baron Van, Kian said Abedzadeh, and others as well. Realistically, I don't think we really have a goalkeeper problem. But the players you just said are basically my choices as well. I'm not going to get into it. You guys went very in detail. Next question comes from @CSZKFCB, who says, be as unbiased as you can be, but do you really think that Iran has an actual chance of making it to the World Cup or even getting out of the group stage? I'll start. Of course, we have a chance to get in the World Cup. I don't think it's going to be that hard. The reason why we've struggled so much was, of course, the managerial changes and some stuff going on behind the scenes. But I hope it could get fixed in the near future. However, getting out of the group stage, this is very hard. I've had this conversation with some other people as well on Twitter. Basically, it really depends on our group.
Oh, we were way better than Spain and Portugal. Come on.
Yeah, we were way better than both.
They weren't even that, they were struggling in that game. Portugal were having a hard time dealing with Iran's counterattack.
We have the potential, of course, to qualify for the World Cup. I mean, from 2018 to now, we didn't change a lot. Our lineup, the same players are there. We just changed our coach, and the coach doesn't even play on the field, you know. I know he plays a big role in the team, but if we have the same players, I mean, we have the potential to qualify at least, you know. Iran qualified 2 times in a row, 2014 and 2018. For a country like Iran, it's not that hard. They just need that mentality to qualify, and that's just.
But it's not good to. I'm not saying you said this, but in the day we can't forget what Queiroz did for us, because tactically, Iran have never played as good as that ever. Even against Argentina, when we lost the game in 2014, we were tactically very strong. It's quite difficult to do that. Do you know what I mean? It's difficult to have a team that probably 60% of them play in Iran, and they probably don't run as much as they would do at the World Cup. But, as you said, Keon, the players are good enough to qualify. All
right, the next one comes from @GPMUFC. Between Sadr Azmoun or Mehdi Taremi, who's better? And someone replied under that I will say that it's Azmoun. And yes, I would 100% go with Azmoun.
They're quite different, obviously, but I think Taremi is a better footballer than Azmoun, which is one of the reasons why he's playing so well. but Osman is a way better striker.
You know, Osman is a bit more creative than Taremi. Taremi is just a finisher, you know. He gets the ball and in less than 1-2 touches, he scores. But there is something completely different about them. Osman mentally is way low below Taremi, because I remember when Osman didn't play well in the World Cup, 2018 World Cup, like always, he gets insult from everybody. He announced his retirement. I like Osman, you know, he's a good guy, but unfortunately he doesn't have that mentally attribute, doesn't have a strong character, you know.
You bring a good point actually, because Taremi's actually improved on that a lot, because he was kind of similar to Osman in that sense. When he was younger, he was quite immature. You know, when he went to Turkey and his move to Turkey got taken off.
Next question comes from at. You know what? I'm not even going to attempt to read that because I'm going to completely butcher it. Let's just get on with the question. It's a very interesting topic. Should Saman Ghoddos get more playing time? I'm presuming he's talking about in the actual national team. I don't think he's talking about Brentford, of course.
Team Melli, no, I think it's correct. Even though in the World Cup he could have played more. I mean, Queiroz had some strange choices. It was a bit strange, but I fully have my... I respect his choices because he's a good manager. Now let's see how Skocic likes how Ghoddos' play style suits the tactical choices.
Add something very quickly, or just because I think it's very important to bring this up. He was actually banned for a long time, so he wasn't able to even play for the national team. That's obviously what happened. And then, second of all, I think his position in the national team is very much going to be in midfield if he does play. You know, I think he'll play in midfield if he does play, where he's been playing for Brentford this season a lot. He's done really well. I think in midfield, I think he's got a career there for the national team, like Dejagal was.
So the next question comes from one of my good friends on Twitter, at Nabzo13, and he says, do you think that you will ever win the World Cup one day? Listen, with the World Cup, anything is possible. We can go ahead, get knocked out in all 4 games, as much as we can go ahead and win the whole thing, right? 2018, no one expected Croatia to get into the finals, and they got to the finals, right? It can happen with Iran, as it can happen with Poland, as it can happen with Afghanistan, really. It can happen with anyone.
The biggest difference between the World Cup and like the Champions League is that the competition is played within like a month. So you need to be very fit. Like if you're gonna win the World Cup as an underdog, your team has to be unbelievably fit. And the problem, like for example, if a team like Ajax gets to the final of the Champions League, it's because they've got a very good tactical base and they've got good technical players, but they don't have to be the fittest team in the competition. But in the World Cup, your team has to be very fit, you know, and I don't know if that's always the case with Iranian teams. They have been in the last 2 World Cups, but that's because of Queiroz, you know.
The next question comes from Ali Reza. He asked, would you rather we don't qualify for the World Cup but win the Asian Cup, or we qualify for the World Cup but get knocked out in the group stages again? Very interesting question. As Arya said, we need the Asian Cup. It's been way too long. I feel like we just have to. If we do get this opportunity, I think, well, it's not like it's going to actually happen, but
we can officially prove that we are the best Asian team, you know, because in the FIFA ranking, we are technically the best team. But if we play against South Korea or Japan or Australia, I'm not even sure we will win the game. So that's why, yeah, we have to prove to the world that we are the best Asian team.
No. For me, the Asian Cup is second. I don't care about the Asian Cup that much. You know, for me, it's not that it's big, but I think we're always going to be one of the best Asian teams, regardless of if we win it or not. I think for me, the World Cup is what I love. You know, I love to see us playing against Spain, Portugal, and all these teams. Because first of all, because for Gol Bezan it's brilliant because we get great content, but also because it's just I'll prefer us against the big teams. I really want to go to a World Cup as well, You know, I'd love to go to a World Cup and for the first time see Iran play. I don't really care about the Asian Cup as much as I think I want us to win it, but I don't really care about it that much. I mean, it's not like it's not. Come on, like, do you think anyone in that supports that watches this video is actually going to watch the Asian Cup?
So the last question comes from AGP MUFC once again, and he says, what is your all-time Iranian football five-a-side team? So 5 players. It's going to be mostly the recent players. I don't know, because I've never really seen the old players, right? So I can't really, like, say I've watched them.
You're a baby. That's right. You're a baby.
Yeah. No, well, see, like, I haven't really seen the old.
It's all right, man. Just give us it. Give us your heart. Give us
and
it.
then,
Give us
so was it 5? So I guess goalkeeper I would just go with Beran Van. Not really a popular choice. Center back I would go with either Sayed Jalal Hosseini or Gol Mohammadi. My 2 midfielders are going to be Ali Karimi, who played for Bayern Munich, my club, and Mehdi Mahdavikia as well. And so that's 4. And as for the striker, Ali Dai, it really just has to be Ali Dai. Huge inspiration to me as well, since of course Bayern Munich player. So yeah, Ali Dai at striker. What about you guys?
So me personally, so goalkeeper, I would put Nasser Hejazi. He was famous, even though I wasn't born yet. I would put 1 defender, 2 midfielders. I would put Karim Bagheri, who is for me the best player, Iranian player of all time. It's just my opinion. Then Ali Karimi, and in the attack I would put Ali Dai and Wahid Hashemian.
Yeah, for me, because you guys said Beran Van and Hejazi, I'm gonna actually say Ahmad Reza Obedzadeh, who was the 2002 World Cup goalkeeper. I would have in defense, I would put just to be different, I would put Andronik Iskandarian, who was the defender at the 1978 World Cup. He's a legend, played at New York Cosmos in America. The 2 sort of midfielders, if you will, I would actually agree. I like Ali Karimi a lot. I think Ali Karimi is one of the best Iranian players of all time, but I don't like him as a guy. So I wouldn't have him on my team. I think he's a bit of an idiot, to be honest. But so because of that, I'm not gonna have him on my team. I'm actually gonna have Mehdi Mahdavikia. I really respect Mahdavikia a lot. He's a real gentleman, and he's a fantastic footballer when he was playing. And then alongside Mahdavikia, I would have Ashkan Dejaga, and then up front I would have Ayadai.
Yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. But before we put this video to bed, there are multiple reasons as why you should support Team Melli, or at least keep an eye on them. I think we're an up-and-coming nation. The Iranian national team is very underrated, in my opinion, compared to the world. You know, when we talk about Iran, obviously the first thing that always comes up is politics and those type of stuff, which doesn't really represent our people all the time. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, thank you so much. Arya from Gol Bezan, Kian from @Futbaleirani. All the links are going to be in the description down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Damn, I'm on red alert. Else you went up in the dirt, man. I don't wanna hurt, man.